This is an overview of Lesson 12, Creating a Prototype. Lesson 12 is the first lesson in the implementation unit. At this point, the students have designed their web page and are about to start to build it. In terms of the design sprint stages that Google has taught them about, the students have already come to understand what the problem that they're solving might be, have defined it, including doing some user research and finding out who their users are. They went through a diverge process where they each designed the website themselves and some of the ideas behind both the user experience and the user interface. Then the team came together and decided on a wireframe that expressed the decision on the user interface and the user experience. This week, they're going to start to build the prototype, which will be an actual Google site, not a complete one, but one that it has enough structure and enough content so that they and other people can start to evaluate it to start an iterative process of gaining feedback, changing it, and making it better. And that's done in the validate phase, which we will also touch on this week. The Week 12 lesson plan shows that the learning objectives are to learn the different kinds of prototypes that you can create and their different benefits. You learn how to apply validation, in this case a technique called triple validation, to evaluate the prototype that's created. You explore different sprint models for prototyping, because there are some different ones, and the students create a prototype Google site. The Week 12's day 1 is learning about the prototyping. So they again will watch some videos where we do an I do, we do kind of approach, and you give the teams their assignment. The assignment is linked up here. You can see that the assignment has them create a Google site. There's only one Google site per team, so one of the team members will use their Google account to create the site. The other team members will give contributions to it, but that one lead team member, the sprint master, is going to be the one that actually keeps the changes on the Google site. However, each of the team members can contribute because the lead team member can add them as collaborators or by setting up sharing on the Google site so that other students can make their contributions. It's important that as the students start to develop this site, that they stick to the software development process by using GitHub project and its Kanban board. The idea here is that there should be the cards on the Kanban board for each of the tasks in creating the prototype. Here we see an example Kanban board on GitHub project. This is the project we referred to in one of the previous videos. It was created by some teachers during a professional development. And we can see they completed their project. But over here on the done column, you can see the cards. And each phase of the design and the implementation, there was a card for. So someone had a card for creating the logo that went on the website. So they created the logo by taking this card and going to, we're going to do the logo. Someone was actually working on the logo, and when it was done, it's moved here. So similarly, you can see here that the design challenge statements were all put in here that they did last week. But here when they're creating the prototype, create a contact page, create a header and a logo for the site. All the things that are necessary to be prototyping were made as Kanban cards in the GitHub project so the team could get used to using the software development process and coordinating the building of their prototype. So here on the assignment, step 2 says to do that to create the Kanban cards for each of the pages that you're going to have on your site. And again, they get this from their wireframe. And then they assign as a team, they work together using the contract they wrote on how they're going to agree to do tasking. They use that process to pick who's going to do what sites or what cards in the Kanban board collection of things to do. Step 4 says as they work, they should be moving the cards in GitHub project. And remember, the GitHub project is shared for the team. So any team member should be able to go in and move their cards and see the other cards that are being moved by their team members. Finally, whenever you set the due date for this, and it could be this week, or you could give them a little extra time, the due date is that they should have at least working Google site. It's a prototype. It's not the final product. The idea is to get it to a stage where there's enough content structure in both the user experience and the user interface that they and then other people through more user research can give them feedback on their prototype. And they take that feedback and they keep iterating to make the prototype better over the rest of the semester. We provide some examples in the lesson plan. Here is an example of a website for an entrepreneurial startup company, the dog walking company. Here's an example of a website for a community group, which is a Rhode Island wellness group. Looking at the We Walk entrepreneurial website, you can see what the students did. They each have, here are the pages across the top. They have a home page with a nice graphic that one of the students did. They have some content explaining about what their service is, and they have some engaging pictures. Across the top are different pages, each done by each student doing one or two of the different pages. So here's one for the pricing for the dog walk service. This is the one where they used HTML, not just a Google site. And they used HTML to create a little list and a little table of the prices. They decided to have a personal touch by showing who the walkers are, and they put in some pictures and bios of the people who are walking for them. They used some of the videos that they learned last week on how to do user interface, and they created a sign-up page. In this case, they used a Google form. So the sign-up is actually quite easy. It's actually real, because anyone who signs up, their data will be recorded from the Google form into a Google Sheet. They decided they want to have a blog about the dog walking. And so they created some blog entries. Frequently asked questions, and a contact. Looks like they have two pricing information here. Let's see, this one is, this is a little bit more detail on the pricing, and a contact page. And this all came out of the wireframe that the students had put together. The third example is from the industry mentor. In this case, it was from a company in Providence that was doing the app for PVD Fest. And they wanted the young people in the group to be able to give us a young person's view on what their app should look like. So they had the team make a website that would then eventually be turned by the professionals into an app. And this is for something like PVD Fest. We actually didn't put PVD Fest on here. It's they call it Providence Block Party, but it really was for PVD Fest. And again, the students designed what pages they would have, which you see down here on the left, and the graphics. In the teacher's notes, we provide a link to a site that has many other student-created websites, which you can provide to your students if you wish. And as usual with the examples, you have to be careful of providing too much, because you don't want the students to just copy what someone else has done. But at the same time, you want to give them some guidance and give them some kind of a start to think about what their site could look like. So using your own judgment about how much of the examples to show and go through. There is an activity guide for the few videos that are being shown on day one. The students have the activity guide here. As usual, it's a reflection on the videos. And here you have an answer key for it. You have a rubric for grading the assignment, and there's some vocabulary. So this is an exciting start to the students actually building a website. It's been hard because they've done all of this process to get up to this point. But at this point, they should really be ready to be creating and implementing something that they start to be proud of.